People pay $5,000 for the stuff I'm going to share with you in this video. So grab a notebook and a pen, because this is literally gold. This video is for anyone who wants to make money online. It's for the teenagers that don't want to be stuck with hundreds of thousands of dollars in student debt that they're never going to be able to pay off. The average price to rent a one-bedroom apartment in New York City is literally $4,047, while the average annual pay for a graduate in New York City is $41,113 a year, or $3,407 per month. So as you can see, graduates in New York City are not even able to rent a one-bedroom apartment, and on top of that, they have to pay off massive student debts. If this isn't the definition of a scam, I don't know what it is. But this video is also for the older members of the audience. Maybe you're in your 30s or your 40s and you're sick and tired of your job and you want to start a profitable online business so that you can have the time and the location freedom that you've always dreamed of. I started my first consulting business about 2 years ago, and it allowed me to build a life of freedom and of abundance for myself, where I can travel, have fun, and not have to worry about giving all of my time, all of my youth, all of my energy to a soul-crushing 9-to-5 job. This video is the best free guide that you will find on YouTube on how to start your own consulting business in 2023. I'm going to share with you the step-by-step action plan that you need to follow in order to go from 0 to 10K per month in just 90 days. Now, I have to issue a disclaimer here, of course. Not everyone is going to be able to replicate those exact results. For some people, it's going to take 6 months or even 12 months to reach the 10K per month mark. You see, I believe that success is the combination of hard work, perseverance, and also good timing. However, I also genuinely believe that for everyone, as long as they're willing to do what it takes and to put in the work, at some point, you are going to have good timing. You're going to be at the right place at the right time. You could struggle to get clients for 6 months and then on the 7th month, jump to 10K per month out of the blue. This is also known as the compound effect. For instance, on YouTube, it's well known that creators are going to put out a lot of videos, and then one day, seemingly out of the blue, a video blows up and they finally start to get some traction. But it only happens because of all of the work that they previously put in. So you can put in the work now, and while you won't necessarily see immediate results, the seeds that you planted in the ground are growing, and soon enough they will blossom. So what's an online consulting business? You see, the traditional way of doing consulting was to work in a specific field like manufacturing, engineering, management, marketing, and to gather knowledge and experience for decades, and then to share that knowledge and expertise and to monetize it. Gigantic consulting firms that are worth billions of dollars, such as McKinsey & Company, with an annual revenue of around $10.5 billion US, or the Boston Consulting Group with $11.7 billion in revenue per year. What these big consulting firms do is that they hire employees that they train on becoming consultants in specific fields of expertise, such as management or engineering, for instance. So they pay these consultants per hour, so they're basically like regular employees working for salary. In 2021 alone, the consulting industry was valued at $250 billion US, and the numbers have only been on the rise since then. But you see, the definition of a consultant is someone who helps a business or a person to achieve a specific outcome. So a consultant could be someone helping online creators to get more leads and more customers by growing their personal branding. Or a consultant could be a fitness coach helping men in their 30s and their 40s to lose 20 pounds and to keep the weight off. Or like Brittany Brown, a woman who overcame binge eating disorder and is now sharing with other women how they can do the same. A consultant is simply someone who solves a painful problem and gets paid to do it. That's it, plain and simple. Now, I know that some of you watching this video right now are going to think, but what if I don't have any skills? Usually, there are two case scenarios. One, you have an expertise but you don't even realize it. The truth is that for a lot of people, they're very knowledgeable on a specific topic, but they don't even realize that it comes naturally to them. For instance, someone could be really good with computers and with tech, but it's only when their friends and family point it out that they realize it. Now, the other scenario is where you don't actually have any knowledge or any skills that you think that you could monetize at the moment. In that case, there are two things that you can do. The first option is to find a painful problem and to figure out how to solve it. For instance, if you wanted to help e-commerce brands to get more leads and more customers using marketing through TikTok, you could find a way to learn how to do that and then start pitching your services. Or the other thing that you can do is that you can pitch e-commerce brands your services, close them, and once you've received the money, hire freelancers or contractors to deliver the work for your clients instead of getting in the trenches yourself and having to do all of the work yourself. What's great with this approach is that you don't have to spend a single dime before you even get a client. That way, you don't risk losing thousands of dollars like you would with dropshipping or with Amazon FBA. Now, a big mistake that I see many aspiring consultants do is to bother themselves with details that don't even matter from the get-go. I know that some people literally spend weeks trying to figure out what's the perfect logo or the perfect name for their business, the perfect sales funnel. None of that matters. Your clients aren't going to pay you because you have a fancy logo or a pretty website. The only thing they care about and the only reason they're ever going to pull out their credit card is to buy a solution to their problem. In that same spirit, you do not need to legally register your company before you even get one sale. Registering a company is a costly, time-consuming process, and all that matters right now is that you sign your very first client. And most countries let you operate as a sole trader anyway, so why not take advantage of it? Being a sole trader means that you can sign clients and run your business without having a LLC or a limited, depending on which country you reside in. Now, I've had people tell me that they think that they're too young to start a consulting business, and I've also had people tell me that they didn't think anyone would take them seriously because they have an accent and they don't speak perfect English. Well, let me bust down those two myths. I started my first consulting business around 18 years old. I was helping entrepreneurs improve their efficiency through biohacking, and the truth is that no one ever mentioned my age. No one ever asked me how old I was, in fact. And as you can probably hear, I don't have a perfect English accent either. I'm French. So as you can see, none of that matters. I'll say this again because it's crucial that you understand it and that you fully internalize it. But the only thing that matters in the eyes of your customer is that you can help them to solve the painful problem that they're facing. That's it. Contrary to popular belief, deciding what service you're going to sell and what niche you're going to be focusing on, it shouldn't be that difficult. Do this little exercise with me. Grab a piece of paper and a pen and write down a list of all of the things that you are interested in. Then what you want to do is to write a list of all of the skills that you currently have. For instance, maybe your friends and family are always telling you that you're a great cook, so write that down. I'll give you a few examples. Let's say that you wrote down that you're a very good cook and that you love fitness. Well, you could help people to lose weight and to keep the weight off by providing them with lots of healthy, low-calorie recipes that taste like their favorite restaurant meals. Or you could decide that you're going to focus on lead generation through creating short-form content on TikTok for e-commerce brands in the shoe niche. Now, how do you price your services? If you offer a done-for-you service, if for instance you sell lead generation using YouTube ads to seduction coaches, you have a few options to play with. You can choose the pay-per-results model. So in that case, you would be paid per lead or per booked call, for instance. You can also choose the pay-per-results model plus a percentage, meaning you get paid per lead or per booked call, but you also receive a percentage of the total profit generated for your customer. Then there's upfront, meaning that your clients are going to pay you a flat fee, for instance $1,500 for 1 month, and you only start working when you get paid. Now, if you offer a done-with-you service, for instance, let's say that you help men in their 50s to lose 20 pounds and to keep the weight off without having to restrict themselves, you can charge your clients a one-time fee of, let's say, $2,000. Now, you have to keep in mind that the amount of money that you are going to be able to charge for your services is going to depend on a few different factors: the buying power of your market and the intensity of the pain associated to the problem that you solve. To explain this in plain English, the buying power of your market simply means the amount of money that people in your niche would be willing to pay you. For instance, if you help men in their 20s to get in shape, you won't be able to charge as much as if you helped men in their 50s get in shape, for the simple reason that men in their 50s typically have more money to spend than men in their 20s. And then the price that you can charge also depends on how painful the problem that you solve is. For instance, if you help people to overcome binge eating disorders or get more leads for their law firm, that's a pretty painful problem that you can charge a lot of money for, compared to helping people with gardening, even though, believe it or not, there is a market for this as well, and some people would definitely be willing to pay you to have a nice garden. Now, this is where the real fun begins. It's time to go hunting for some clients. Now, the thing that you have to understand is that there are two different types of marketing. There's outbound and inbound marketing. Outbound is when you are directly reaching out to potential customers in order to get their attention. For instance, this could be sending a LinkedIn connection a message. On the other end, inbound marketing, it's when the leads are coming to you themselves, because for instance, they saw an ad that you posted or a piece of content on a social media platform. Now, outbound marketing is hands down the fastest and the most efficient way to get your first clients, especially when you're just starting out, because creating content is a very time-consuming process and it takes months and years to get a YouTube channel off the ground. So when it comes to outbound marketing, there are a few different ways to find your ideal customer without having to spend a dime on ads. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, email, Google search if you target local businesses, and cold calling also works if you target local businesses as well. If you target, let's say, e-com shoe brands, you can go on this website called Build With and you will have a list of 40,000 Shopify stores in the shoe niche. So that's literally 40,000 potential customers that you can reach out to, and it took literally 1 second to find them. Then what you want to do is to go on the Instagram page of the brand, and if you notice that they would be a good fit for your services, what you want to do is to message them. When you follow an Instagram account, Instagram is going to recommend similar accounts to you, and you can use that feature in order to find more potential customers to reach out to. You can also use the hashtags section, and what I love about the hashtags section is that you are only going to stumble upon accounts that have been active recently, so you don't risk wasting your precious time by messaging a bunch of dead accounts. If you want to help men, let's say say in their 50s to lose 20 pounds, you can go on Facebook and join groups that are dedicated to people who struggle with weight loss and take a look at the profile of the members in the Facebook group. And whenever you come across someone whose profile makes you think they would be a good fit, what you want to do is to send them a friend request, and when they accept it, message them. Now let's talk about how to sign a client. This actually comes in the form of a two-step process. The first step is to reach out to the potential customer in order to get their attention. In order to do that, you want to send them a message that is short, concise, and straight to the point. Prospects are going to appreciate it a lot more if you don't beat around the bush and if you are very respectful of their time. A common mistake that I've seen lots of people do is to bore their prospects to death with meaningless and boring chit-chat. I can't even tell you the amount of people who tried to pitch me their services on social media platforms, and the first thing that they sent to me was, "Hi, how are you? Hi, how was your weekend?" I get it, you want to start a nice, friendly conversation with a potential customer, but what do you seriously think your response rate is going to be with such a boring message? And sending messages like, how are you, is going to actually mess up your data, because you will have no way of knowing if people didn't respond to your message because they had no reason to, because they don't know who you are, or if they didn't respond because they're not interested in what you have to offer. With basic messaging like that, it's going to be very tough to track your results accurately, which is actually a key of the whole process. If you don't track your results properly, then how could you ever improve? When you reach out to a potential customer, you have to make it clear from the start how it's going to benefit them. Remember that the only thing that your customer cares about is whether or not you can solve the painful problem that they have. They genuinely don't care about anything else. They don't care about what your voice sounds like, what you look like, where you're from. They just care that you solve their problem. Think about it. When you buy painkillers at the drugstore, do you pay attention to how cool and how nice the packaging looks? Do you pay attention to how cool the logo is? No, because all you care about is getting rid of the pain that you feel. The same concept applies in business. Here's an example of a Facebook outreach message that a fitness coach could use. "Mark, we're on the same Facebook group on weight loss. I read your last post and I wanted to ask, what is the thing that you think is preventing you from keeping the weight off?" Now the key here is to use what's called a pattern interrupt, because it's going to increase the opening rate of your messages. In this example, the first thing that the prospect is going to see when they open your message is the "Mark, we're in the," and this is going to intrigue them to open the message and to read it. Then when your prospect answers, it could be something like, "I struggle with enjoying healthy food because I find it bland." What I would do is to reply something like this: "I would love to give you the free ebook I made with 20 plus healthy recipes that really taste like your favorite restaurant meals. My name is Fred and I help men in their 50s to lose 20 pounds without having to restrict themselves. Is this something that you would need any help with?" And then if your prospect answers yes, you can say something like, "Awesome, when would you be down to have a free one-on-one call with me?" And then you pinpoint a date and time, and voila, you've got a meeting with a potential customer. The beauty with outbound prospecting is that if you close the deal, it costs you $0 in customer acquisition. Now the next step is to get paid. In order to turn a complete stranger into a high-paying client, there is a very specific framework that we need to follow during a sales meeting. We're going to start off with a bit of a warm-up in order to make the prospect feel at ease, and it's also going to get you in a state of flow, and it's going to help you to conduct the conversation with ease. The warm-up process typically lasts a minute or two at most. You'll be asking your prospect a couple basic questions such as, "How are you doing today, Mark?" Then comes the diagnosis. During this phase, you want to ask the prospect some questions in order to figure out what's their current situation and what goals they have. For instance, if we stick with the example of a fitness consulting business, Mark could be 50 pounds overweight and desire to drop 20 pounds within the next 6 months. You also want to ask your prospect what they've tried before in order to fix the problem that they have. In this case, Mark could tell you that he tried to do 1 hour of cardio per day, or that he tried to follow a keto diet, but none of this worked for him. At this stage of the call, you're basically gathering a lot of data, a lot of information about the prospect's needs, pains, and desires. You're not coaching them for free. You're not talking about your offer or how much it costs. You're just asking a set of questions and you're carefully listening to your prospect. You don't want to have your phone right next to you with notifications buzzing on your screen every 5 seconds. You want to give your prospect your full, undivided attention, otherwise their guard is going to go up, and even if they genuinely think that you would be the perfect solution to their problem, they're not going to sign up with you. After you've gathered information about your prospect's current situation and about their desired situation, you want to position yourself as the solution to their problem. This is where you're going to make them an offer, and they will be able to ask you some questions about how your process works. When you state your offer and what you do, you have to make it a no-brainer for them. Your offer must be so good it would make them feel stupid to say no, because it just wouldn't make any conscious, any logical sense to not work with you. The last part of the call is the close. This is where you state your price and the prospect makes a decision. When you state your price, you want to remain dead silent and let your prospect think. Sometimes the silence can even go on for a few minutes. Then your prospect is going to say something like, "Okay, let's get started." And what you want to do is to do the payment over the phone. In order to do that, you want to ask them for their email address or simply simply send them the invoice through Facebook Messenger, Instagram DM, or on the platform you had a conversation with them. Now, a rookie mistake that I see lots of people making, unfortunately, is to get all hyped up to go out and to celebrate with their friends and family because they finally signed a client, but what happens the next day is that they notice the invoice hasn't been paid. Same thing a few days later, the invoice still hasn't been paid. This is the reason why you want to do the payment on the phone if you can. Now, of course, sometimes prospects are going to tell you that they need some time to think about it. In that case, you want to pinpoint an exact date and time for you to follow up with the prospect. But until you have the money in your Stripe account, you should not consider that the prospect is a client. Sometimes it's gonna happen that a prospect is going to sound super interested in your offer, but then at the last minute, out of the blue, they ghost you and they suddenly want nothing to do with you. Although most of the time this doesn't happen, you have to know that sometimes it happens. Now, there's a key shift in mindset that is literally going to make you invincible. If you focus on yourself and on your needs and you're dying to get that sale, you're going to be needy and the client is going to feel it. Therefore, their guard is going to go up. But the thing that you have to realize in order to stop feeling so needy, so desperate to get that sale, is that if somebody decides that they don't need your services, the only person losing in that interaction is them. Whatever happens, you either gain some valuable experience in business and in your field, learn some valuable lessons, or you sign a client and you make some money. And the thing that you have to understand is that there are plenty of fish in the sea. There are hundreds of thousands of e-com brands out there who need help with their lead generation, just like there's hundreds of thousands of people who need help with their fitness and weight loss. And this doesn't just apply to the niches I mentioned, it applies to literally any market that you can possibly think of. Congratulations, you signed your very first client. Now it's time to deliver the outcome. The way that you deliver your service is going to depend on a bunch of different factors. For instance, what's the fulfillment method that you're going to use? Is it done for you? Is it done with you? Done for you basically means that you are going to do the work for your client. For instance, if you sell a lead generation service to e-commerce brands using YouTube ads, it's a done for you service because your business is going to be in charge of running the ads for your clients. Now, on the other end, let's say that you help women to increase their self-confidence and to find their ideal partner. You can't really do done for you, but what you can do instead is what we call done with you, meaning you're going to coach your client. The thing that you have to know is that done for you services typically take a lot more time than done with you services. The reason for that is because, like I said, you are going to be doing 90% of the work for your clients. That said, you can hire contractors and freelancers to do the work for you. So you close a customer, and once you receive the payment, you go and hire contractors and freelancers that are going to do the work for you. You act as a middleman and you keep a part of the profits. And you have to know that doing this does not make your business any less legitimate than the big marketing agencies out there. In fact, what these companies do is that they hire new, inexperienced marketing graduates to complete the work for their clients. And the funny thing is that these inexperienced marketing graduates are a lot more expensive to hire for companies compared to hiring freelancers that have been in the online marketing space for years and that are based in the Philippines or in Chile. Remember that the only thing that your client cares about is getting their desired outcome. They don't care if you do that by hiring contractors or freelancers, or if you get in the trenches yourself and do the work yourself. They hire you based on results, not on methods. Now, if you're doing done with you, the fulfillment method is a lot simpler because you can deliver your expertise in the form of group coaching. That way there's a human element to it and you can take on more than one single client at a time and scale your business that way. Or you can create an online training program that you can share with your students, and this is actually going to make the learning process a lot more efficient for them because your clients are going to be able to go through the online course at their own pace and to review the sections that they feel the need to. And for you, you will be able to scale your business with a lot more ease. There you go. Now that you have all of the action steps, it's time to launch your own consulting business. I respond to every single comment, so if you need any help, if you have any questions, leave a comment down below and I will be happy to coach you for free. I hope that you implement the steps that we talked about in this video because I can confidently say that this business has the power to change your life just like it changed mine. And with that said, I will see you in the next one.